Welcome back everyone. My name is Sagar and we are back here with another video. So this is the lecture number 19 of our Java and DSA course. And from our previous video we learnt about multidimensional arrays. Not multidimensional but we just saw 2D array. But there are also 3D array, 4D array, 5D and there is no limit. But I can surely say that you will never see a question which contains 4D array, 5D array, 6D and so on. So there is a limit. Somewhere you can see some questions on 3D arrays, but not more than that. So 3D array are just array of matrices and rest of the things will be same. So 2D array, that is a matrix, was the main important thing and we just learnt about that. And today in this video we will be covering some questions on that so that you will be comfortable with them. So without making any further ado, let's get started. So first I will quickly create a Java class, lecture 19. And I also forgot one thing, that when you want to initialize some metrics in one line, then there is a way to do this. So like we were doing in our 1D array. So how were we initializing them in one line? So we were writing it as this. So if we want to add some values, so there can be some values and we can just initialize our array in one line with some values. We can just say we can just do the same thing with our matrix. So first of all, it is a array of arrays. So this will be an array of multiple arrays. So first array, second array, and suppose I want only third array. So this is an array of arrays. So there are three arrays and I just created a collection of them and I want to add values in my arrays. So 1 2, and you can just add so many values and yeah, you can see here. So there you can see there can be different sizes for our array in this matrix. So suppose this first array is of size 1, it contains only one element. This second array is of size 2, it contains only two elements. So after that there is this third array which contains 5 elements. So now this is not a matrix because matrix have same rows and same columns. So you can clearly see it have 3 rows and elements in all the arrays are different. So it is not a matrix. We will just call it a 2D array, or I will call it a RRRR. You can just name it anything. So this is just a 2D array and you cannot call it a matrix. Matrix have same number of rows and columns. So if it have same number of rows and columns, then here. So it have 3 rows and the number of elements for all the array are same. So now we can call it a matrix. So matrix means all the arrays will have same number of elements in it. And in this way you can just create a matrix with some elements. So after this, before moving to our question, first let me get the input for our matrix, and here it is. So I will just use it. So number of rows, number of columns, and this is a matrix because all the elements, all the array will have same size, that is equal to this columns. So okay, we will just refactor it. We learned in our previous video that that refactoring means you can change all the names. Okay, refactor, rename, rename code occurrence. What is that? I will call it mat, and okay. So this is now matrix. So that is okay now. So now let us move to our first question. And our first question is Q1 is convert 1D array into 2D array. So we will be given some 1D array and we have to convert it into a 2D array. So first I will create this 1D array. I will name it ARR and it will have some size. So we have to get this array from our input and we don't need it now for this question. Okay, we do need this. So as out enter array size. So we will get the size, and that will be equal to, I will say it as n sc dot next int, and I will create an array of size n. And suppose it have 9 elements. So 1 2 3, you can see there are 9 elements, and we have to now create it into a matrix. We have to convert it. So how can we convert? So first row will contain these three, second row will contain 4 5 6, and then third row will contain 7 8 and 9. So that means this is a matrix of 3 cross 3, and we have total elements 9, because this is a matrix of 3 cross 3, and total number of elements will be 3 into 3, that will be 9. So that means if we have some 9 elements, then we have to create a matrix of 3 into 3. So you can see the pattern here, right? That if this is n, then if we have total of n elements in our array, then we have to create a matrix which have root n. So how can we write root n? So root of n number of rows, and into root n number of columns. So root means this square root. So that means if this array have a total of n elements, then we have to create a matrix that have root n number of rows and root n number of columns. So that also means this n should also be a perfect square. So suppose there are 8 values. So how can we create a matrix of root n into root n? So what is root 8? It is 2 point something, but we can't just use here 2 point something into 2 point something. That doesn't make sense. So this n should be a perfect square. So if it is so it can have 4 values, 9 values, and 16 values, and so on. So it should be a perfect square, so that we can get root value, and then we can create matrix according to that. So if the size of this array is equal to n, then we have to create our rows and columns equal to root n. So now we need root n. So int root n, and how can we find root n? We will use this math dot sqrt of this n, and I will typecast it into integer. So what was that? We don't know about that. Let me just control and left click in it. So you can see here, this is a method. For now you don't know what is a method, but just suppose it is a sqrt method from our math class. You can see here math.java, and you can also hover over it, and you can see here public final class math. So the math class contain method for performing basic numeric operations such as elementary exponential, logarithm. So you can also find exponential of some values, and log and square root and trigonometric functions. So this is a math class you can use to perform some basic actions of mathematics, and I am calling sqrt, that means square root method, from our math class. So this sqrt is a method from our math class. That is why we can use here math dot means we have to access some values from our math class, and we are accessing a method. So this sqrt is a method, and that is why here it is with parentheses, and it also has some arguments, that is a number, so n. So we have to find the square root of n. So I am writing it here, this math dot sqrt n. So in this way we are getting square root of n, and you can see here error, require type int and provided double. So that means this math.sqrt, this function is returning us a double value, and we can just typecast it into integer. You know typecasting, right? And if you don't know, you can just watch out some of our initial videos. So here we are just using this sqrt method from our math class, and we are getting the root n. And after that we have to we have to create a matrix with this root n. So matrix which have a root n number of rows, and same root n number of columns. And after that, before creating this matrix, we have to take the array input. So we have to take the input, right here, enter n values. So after this we will enter. So suppose n is 9, so we will enter 9 values, and after that we will create 3 into 3 matrix. So using a for loop, I will get I should be less than n can be variable, right? So here are I. So I will store all the values from our input in my array. You are comfortable with them. This is just a 1D array and we are storing all the values from our integer input. So after that we have to create a matrix of root and size. And how can we get values from our array and fill in our matrix? So that is a problem now because our array have values like this. So it is in straight line and we want to fill it in a 2D space in a 2D matrix 1, 2, 3 and then 4, 5, 6 and then 7, 8, 9. So first of all, we know we created a matrix and all the values are by default 0. So how can we? So all the values are 0 here, 0, 0, 0. So how can we get all the values from our array and update it in our matrix? So first of all, we want first value and we will use it here. So we will get the first value from our array and use it here. So I will change it to 1 and after that I will be increased. So I means that we will create a variable that will act as our index for this ARR. So suppose first our index is here. So we will get the ith index value that is 1 and use it in our matrix. So first it was 0 and we will get the ith value from our array and use it here. So it will be 1 and after that I will be increased. So I will be here now. So I will be increased and in our array the ith value is here too. So we will update it to next index and again I will be increased. So I will be here. So again I will update it. So again we will update the value. So here it will be 3 and after that again I will be increased. So it will be here now. So now the value is 4. So we have to update it here. So I hope you can just see the pattern here. We are just traversing over this matrix and getting the value from ARR ith index. So this I is independent of this matrix. इस I का कुछ लेना देना नहीं है इस matrix से. We just have to traverse the matrix in the same way we were doing in our previous video and every time we have to update one value and increase the I. So we will just do the same thing. First we have to iterate over this matrix. So I should be less than root n and I will use here a j variable. J should be also less than root n and now we want to update the value of this ij index. So ith row and jth column. So we have to update the value and what will be the value? So first I is here. So I is here now and we know that this I is independent of these loop because these loops are just for our matrix. So I will create I before this loop I or we can say index because I is already here. So index will be from 0 and because there is a matrix of n cross n size and we have an array of n square, so there will be no index out of bound. So after this we have to get the value from our array and I will write here ARR of this index and since we have updated the value, so first our I is 0 and we are here. So all the values are 0, 0, 0, 0 and we are here now. So this is our first value that is I is 0 and j is 0. So we are here and we are updating the value of our matrix with this ARR of index. So we will get the value from our index. So first it is 1, then we will update it here and after that we have to increase the index. So ind plus plus. So after that index will be here. So we will get 2 and we will fill it here. So here 2 and after that here 3 because I will be increased every time and so on. So we will fill all the values from 1 to 9 and that is it. And let me just quickly print the matrix. I will use here a for each loop because I have to print the whole matrix a ar from So let me just run it. So we have to write here a perfect square size. So I will write here 3, no, 9, because 9 is a perfect square of 3. And 1, 2, 3, 0. So after that, our matrix will be this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0. And let me check for another example. What will happen when our n is not a perfect square? So suppose it is 3. So 3 is not a square, perfect square of anything. So we have to enter 3 values, and you can see here it is only one value here. Now that is because we are creating a matrix of root n size, and root 3 is 1. In terms of integer, we can say root 3 is 1. So we are creating a matrix of 1 cross 1 size, and we are just filling it. It is a 1 cross 1 matrix. And suppose some another value, 5 is not a perfect square. So after that, 5 values, and here it is. So root 5 means 2 point something, and it will be integer, so it will be 2. So we are creating a matrix of 2 cross 2. So it will be 2 cross 2 matrix, and we are filling it with 4 values because it is a 2 cross 2 matrix. So I think now you got this, how we can use some method from a class, and how we can initialize some matrix. And this was our question number 1. And after that, let's move ahead. So what is our question number 2? We have to transpose a matrix. So for that, first we need a matrix. So we will just use it from here. This will be our matrix input, and we are calling it as mat. Okay. And after that, what is transpose now? So suppose there is some matrix. So suppose there is a 3 cross 3 matrix. So 1, 2, 3. So if you know some basics of math, then you should know what is a transpose. But I will just tell you here what is the transpose. So in transpose, you have a matrix of size n cross n, and in here you just have to interchange all the rows with columns. So that means if this is a row, it have 1, 2, 3, then I have to interchange it with same column. So it is zeroth. So it is zeroth column and it is zeroth row. So I have to interchange all the values now. So interchanging means I have to replace the values. So this is first index, this is second, this is first, this is second. So first of all, this value 0 row and 0 column. If rows and columns are equal, then after changing it will be the same thing. So we don't need to do that. So here it will be 1. And after that, this is our 0th row and first column. So we have to interchange. So that means this value will be now on first column and 0th row. So you can see here what is the index. Here index is 0, 0th row and first column. So 0, 1 is the index of this value, and we have to interchange it. That means it will be 1, 0. So that means the value that is on index 0, 1 will be now on 1, 0, and same for vice versa. The value that is on first row and 0th column will be now on 0th row and first column. So 2 will be on first row, that is here, and 0th column. So 2 will be here, and where this 4 will go? 4 have 1, 0. 4 have first row, 0th column. So it will be replaced with, or we can say swapped with, 0th row and first column. So 0th row is this and first column is this. So 4 will be here, and same for 3. 3 have 0, 2. So it will be on 2, 0. So 2th row and 0th column. 3 will be here, and 7 is here, so it will be here. So after that, these values are changed, this value and this. So 0th row and 0th column has interchanged. So after that, we have to move ahead. So now we have to replace or swap the values which are not replaced. So this 8, this 5, this 6 and this 9. So for 5, number of row is equal to number of column. So after replacing, it will make no change. So 5 will be here, and same for 9. Number of row is 2, number of column is 2. So it will make no change. 9 will be also here. And for this 8 and 6, so they will be swapped with each other. because 8 is on 2 1 index and 6 is on 1 2 index. So they will be interchanged. 6 will be here, 8 will be here. And and now this matrix is the transpose of this previous one. So I hope now you got this thing. And let me just tell you that we don't need a matrix of size n cross n. They can be different. They can be n into m. That means they can have different values. So I will create a matrix of some different value. So suppose n is 1 and m is 3. 1 2 3. So that thing is looking like an array, but it is not an array. It is a matrix. It is a matrix which have only single element, only single array in it. So what is the dimensions of this matrix? So it have 1 rows and 3 columns. So it is a 1 cross 3 matrix because there is only one element, one array in the whole matrix. There can be multiple arrays. So this is our original array and now we have to transpose it. So transposing means we have to swap all the values that are on its row into column. So we can see here there is no column, there is only a row. And we have to create a new matrix that is a transpose of this. So we can say that if this is a 1 cross 3 matrix, that is n cross m matrix, then we have to create a resultant matrix that is of size m cross n, because transpose means number of rows will be swapped with number of columns. So if the original matrix have a size of n cross m, so the resultant, the transposed matrix, will have size m cross n. So it is on 0th index and on here 0 1 2. For this inner array all the indexes are 0 1 2, and for this matrix there is only this 0 index. And now we have to interchange the value. So 0 0, rows and columns are equal, so this value will be here and it is a matrix. And after that the index is 0 1, so we have to swap it and convert it into 1 0. So first row, this is 0th row, and it is first row. So first row and 0th column, so 2 will be here. And after that this 3 is on 0 2, so we have to inverse it and make it to 2 0. So 0 2 it is, and we have to swap it to 2 0. So 2, so this is index 2 and on 0, so 3 will be here. So now we can say it, this matrix is now transpose. You can see here this is now a transpose of this. Rows are converted into columns and it have a size of 1 cross 3. So this resultant matrix will have size of 3 cross 1, and you can see here there are 3 rows, 1 2 3, and only one column for all. That is only one element for all the arrays in the matrix. So first of all, now we know that if this is a given matrix have a size n cross m, or we can say row into column, then we have to create a different matrix that is a transpose which have a size column into row. So we have to reverse it. Here it will be column into row. So we have to create a resultant matrix. So first of all, I will create a matrix. I will call it transpose, and it will have size. So our input matrix have a size row into column. You can see here rows into columns, and we have to create a matrix of size columns into rows. So we have to inverse the size, right? Here it has rows into column, then we will create column into row. So I hope this thing is clear to you. And after that, how can we transpose the matrix? First we have to traverse over it like we do in our matrix. So int I equals to 0, I should be less than length, so I should be less than rows, and I plus plus. We have to traverse in the original matrix which have number of rows equal to rows and column equal to columns. So now columns 0 2, j should be less than columns, and j plus plus. And what we have to do, we have to inverse all the values. That means if row number equal to 0, row equal to 0, and column equal to 1, then we have to inverse the value that is on 0th row and first column. So this is 0 and 1. So here we are talking about this value 2. So we have to swap the value to row number 1 and column number 0. So if the index of this value is 0 1, then we have to swap the value with 0 1, then we have to swap the value with this 1 will be here 1, and this 0 will be here 0. So if the index is 0 1, then we have to swap it with 1 0. We can just say swap, or we are creating a new matrix, so we just have to store the values. So from our matrix, from index I and j, we are accessing the value that is on ith row and jth column, and we have to store it in jth row and ith column. So transpose jth row and ith column. And I hope now this thing is clear to you. If the index is ij, then we have to store it in ji column, and that will be the transpose. So after that, let me just print it, print the transpose matrix. So let me just check it now. So suppose if the number of rows are 1 and number of columns are 3. So suppose this example. So here number of rows are 1 because there is only one array. Let me clear it. So you can see here their number of rows are 1 and the number of columns are 3. So number of rows 1, number of column 3, and we have to enter 3 values for our A, for our matrix, and that will be 1 2 3, 1 2 3. And after that the transpose will have 1 2 3. So it should be like this, and let me check it, and yes it is. So I will write here a print statement transpose. So let me just check it for another example. So suppose there is a 3 cross 3 matrix and values are 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 8 9. So the transpose will have 1 4 7 and then 2 5 and 8, and after that 3 6 and 9. So it should be this, and it is. So I hope now this thing is clear to you, how this ij equal to ji, how we are storing the values. That is only the main thing we have to do here. And after that this question is over, and let's move to our third question. So our third question is Q3, that is multiplication. Matrix multiplication. I hope you know about that. So here we will be given two matrices, that is A and B. So here it will be A, here it will be A, and we will have some another matrix which will be B. So rows and columns will be same, and it will be B. And we have to store it in B. So we are taking two matrices from our input, and after that we have to multiply the matrices. So if you know about the original matrix multiplication, then this program is going to be a little complex, but let me just tell you what is it. Okay, so I just did some mistake, and now I have to record the whole question again, this matrix multiplication, but no problem, let's just see it. So we will be given two matrices. Let me zoom it first. So first of all we will be given two matrices, this A matrix and this B matrix. So first of all, before starting, let me tell you there is a necessary condition that we should follow if we want to multiply these two matrices. If we want to do A multiply B, remember that A multiply B is not equal to B multiply A. Remember that thing. In matrix multiplication, we can do it like this. We cannot do it like this. A multiply B is not equal to B multiply A in matrix multiplication. And the condition that I was saying is, if size of this A matrix is n cross m, then the size of this B matrix should be m cross then some any number. Suppose it is here x, or let me say it here y. So if I want to multiply this A with this B, so you know that this n is the number of rows in A and this m is number of columns. So if I want to multiply this A matrix with this B matrix, then I have to ensure that the number of columns in this A matrix should be equal to number of rows in this B matrix. So the last thing in this A matrix should be equal to this. So if I want to multiply some matrix with let me take an example here. So suppose the size of A matrix is 3 cross 2, and the size of B matrix should be 2 cross some, it can be anything, 2 cross 4, 2 cross 5, and 2 cross anything. So suppose here 2 cross 3. So if I want to multiply these two matrices, 3 multiply 2 is size of A matrix and 2 multiply 3 is the size of B matrix. And if I multiply these two matrices, the resultant matrix will have size 3, 3 rows and 3 columns. So 3 cross 3 will be the size of resultant matrix, that is A multiply B. So I will get some matrix after multiplying these two matrices and it will have size this. So if it have size n cross m and it have m cross, what can I say, m cross y. So the resultant matrix will have n cross y. And let me also tell you one thing, this is a famous question, and that is, what is the total number of multiplication in A multiply B? Just if you know about matrix multiplication, then you can just face this problem anywhere. So the total number of multiplications in multiplying two matrices, total number of multiplication operations, and that is n into m into this y. So n is the number of rows, or number of rows from A, m is number of column from A, or we can say number of rows from B. So m is here in both the matrices. Here it is m and here it is. And here number of y, that is column of column of our B matrix. So this is the total number of multiplication operations that we have to perform if we want to multiply these two matrices. Okay, that was just an extra thing, but you don't need to know about this. So let me just show you how we can multiply two matrices. But don't worry, in our case we are just taking two matrices which have same number of rows and same number of columns. So we are just taking n cross n matrix A, and n cross n will be the size of matrix B. So today there is no problem with that. So we don't have to think that we should have m number of column for A and m number of column for B, m number of rows for B. So that is not a problem today. So let me just take an example here now. So suppose our A matrix is 3 cross 3 and our B matrix is also 3 cross 3. Okay, I will write here B, and we have to multiply them. So in elements should be 1 0 1 1 2, just some random elements. Let me take a 0 2 0 1 1 2 1 0 2 0. Okay, so we have to multiply now these two matrices. And how can we multiply? First let me write here indices. So this is index 1, this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, and these are number of rows, index of rows. So this is 0 index column, this is first index column, this is second index column. And same for this B matrix, 0 1 2 0 1 2. And I just told you that these are 3 cross 3 matrix, as you can see. And the resultant matrix, so A multiply B, so it will have a size 3 cross 3, 3 this and 3 this. So it will have 3 cross 3 size. So let me just write it open. So we have this A multiply B matrix. So it will be also of size 3 cross 3. So it will also have 9 elements. Okay. And now we have to multiply these matrices. First of all, if we want the first element of this answer matrix, then we should multiply these three values with these three values and sum them. So what does that mean? Let me just clear it. So if we want the first element of this resultant matrix, first element, that is this element that is on 0 0 index. So first I will take this one that is on 0 index of this A matrix. So 1 into, and after that 0 index of this B matrix. First I am taking the 0th row from A, and first I am taking the 0th column from B, and it will be placed in 0 0 0 row 0 column. Okay. So I am taking 0 row from A, and I am taking 0 column from B. So this will be placed in 0 0 position. So I think now you got this. So A row from 0, 0th row from A, and 0th column from B. So it will be placed in 0th row and 0th column. So first this 1 and multiply with this 2. So 1 into 2. And after that the second element of this 0th row. So this 1 with this 0. So second element from 0th row of A matrix, then second element from 0th column of B matrix. So I will add this 1 with this 0. 1 into 0. And after that again add. So I will now add multiplication of third elements. So I will take third element from the 0th row of A. So third element is 2, and after that third element of 0th column of B. So it is this. So 1, and the first element will be 1 into 2 is 2, 2 plus 1 into 0 is 0, and then again 2. So 2 into 1 is again 2. So it will be 4. 2, 2, 2, 4. Okay. I don't know why, I'm not sure. So it is here 4. And after that now we want second element. So this is on 0 0 index. So we were taking 0th row from A matrix, and so we were taking 0th row from A matrix and 0th column for B matrix if we want the element of 0 0 index. And now we want element of 0 1 index, 0th row and first column. So we will just take the same A B. So we will take 0th row from A matrix and first column from B matrix, and whatever we get the result, we will just put it here on 0th row and first column. So let me just clear it from here. So we will now consider 0th row from A matrix. So 0th row, same row from A matrix, and now first column from our B matrix. First column, the column that is on first index. Okay. So now we have to do the same thing. First element from here will be multiplied with first element from here. 1 into 1. And after that we will add the second element that is on first index from here and first index from here. So 1 into 2. And after that third. So 2 multiply with, what was that? I think that is 1. So 2, this 2 will be multiplied with this one. So I think now you are getting my point, how we are accessing the number of row from A and a number of column from B. So if I want to put some element on index I, J, then I want to select the ith row from our A element, A matrix, and the jth row, jth column from our B matrix. So first let me write the answer, then I will generalize this thing. So it is 1 plus 2 into 1 is 2, then 2 into 1 is again 2. So it is 5 here. So the second element that is on 0 1 index is 5. And now let me just get some element from some random index. So suppose this is index 2 2, and now I will get this. So on index 2 2. So this is 2 into 2 index. This one. So we will get second row from our A matrix, because here you can see number of row is 2, number of column is 2. And now we have to select number of row from A and a number of column from B. So we will get the same second row, second column from B. So we will get this 1 multiply with 0, that will be 0. We will get this 1 multiply with this 2. So 1 into 2 is 2. and after that this 0 multiplies 0 will be 0, so we will get the answer 2. And after that let us see some another index. So suppose I want element on um, 1 2 index, so 1 2. So first row from A matrix and second column from B matrix, we have to select that. So first row from A matrix, first index row from A matrix, and second index column from B matrix. So 0 into 0 is 0, 0 into 2 is again 0, so 2 into 2, 2 into 0 is again 0. So here it will do, it was 2. So I think now you got this, how this is 0. This 0 into 0 will be 0, plus this 0 into 2 is again 0. Then this 2 into 0 is again 0. So we will get the final result 0. So I think now you got this, how we are selecting rows and columns. So let me now generalize this. So if we have some index I, if we want to find some index ij for our resultant matrix ij, then first we have to select the whole row from our A matrix, whole ith row. And how, and we know how we can get the ith row. So the A is a matrix, right? So we can, how we can get the ith row using this. So A is a matrix and it have arrays as as its elements. So arrays are elements in our matrix, and we can just get the whole array as this. So we will get the ith row from our A matrix, and what we have to do, we will get all the elements one by one. So suppose there are 3 elements, 1 2 3, so we will get the whole array. Okay, so we will get the ith row. Let me just write it clear here. So from A we have to get the ith row, and then we have to do this thing. We have to select one element, and we have to just multiply it with, what we have to do, we have to get the jth column from our B matrix. So we have to select the ith row from our A matrix, and we have to get the jth column from our B matrix. And what we have to do, we have to iterate over all the elements from it, right? What we are doing here, you can see we are selecting one row and we are getting all the elements one by one and multiplying it with each other. Okay, so first we are getting this 0 and we are multiplying with this single element. So 0 into this single element, so we will multiply them, and after that, after multiplying all the elements, we will just add them. So I think this thing is clear. We just have to now use some another loop to get all the elements from one row and all the elements from one column. So I think now you got this, how we can select ith row if we want some ij index, then ith row, and then jth column. And now the only part is we have to iterate over all the whole collection of numbers, and we have to just select all the elements one by one and multiply them with each other, and after that add. So let me just show you the program here. So first we have, what we have to do, we have to iterate over all the indices. So there are also 9 elements. So let me just see, there is this A matrix, right? And value of A is this, rows and column will be equal, right? So I will just enter size. So I will just get one size rows, and I will create a, it will be n. So I will create a matrix of n cross n size, and n cross n same here. And I will again create a B matrix of size n cross n, and values of B will be this. Okay, and so 2 matrices are created, and now I want to create a resultant matrix that will be also of size of n cross n. Okay, so I will call it answer matrix, that will be also of size n cross n. And after that, what we have to do, we have to iterate over all the indices. So it is 0 0 index. So what we will do, we will select the 0th row from our A matrix and 0th column from our B matrix, and we will just calculate all the things. So we have to first iterate over this answer matrix. So for I, for this j, and now we have the index ij. So for index ij, first we have to select the ith row from our A matrix. And how can we select the ith row from our A matrix? So we know that we have to, there are equal number of elements in a row to the to the elements of a column. Am I saying that right? There are three elements in one row of A, and there will be three elements in one column of B. So I can just use the same loop for both these things. I can just use a loop that will be from 0 to n. So for I will just use here some another variable name from 0 to n. So now I just want to select the ith row from A. So ith row from A, and now I want to select all the elements. So using this, first k will be 0, so first we will get this element, and then k will be increased, so next I will get this element, and after that k will be again increased, so next I will get this element. And what I have to do with single elements, I have to multiply them with jth column element. So I have to multiply them with this same row, all the elements from, okay, that gonna be B matrix of jth index. And I think now you got this thing, where I have to select all the k elements from one jth column. So I have to select the jth column. So suppose this is 0, so I have to select this jth column, and I have to select all the elements from all the rows. So first k will be 0, so row number is 0. So first row number is 0, and j will be same. Okay, so j will be 0, so I will select this element, and after that k will be increased, so k will be here, k will be 1, and j will be same. After that again k will be increased, so k will be here, and I will select this element. And what I am doing, I am multiplying this element with this, multiplying this element with this, multiplying this element with this. And what I have to do, I will just add all the values. So how can we add? So I will just either I can just create some current answer, and I will just add all the values to this current. So current plus equal to, so I think you know this operator. So k will be here, this plus equal to, so that means I will just add all the values after multiplying. So first I will multiply when k is 0. So when k is 0, and I am selecting ith row, so ith row, and when k is 0, so I will get this element. And when k is 0 for bth row, so when row is 0 for this b, I will select the jth column. So j is 0 and k is also 0, so I will select this element, I will multiply them with each other, and I will just add it to current. So first I will multiply these two. Okay, that thing is very messy now, but no problem. So first I will multiply this element with this element. So you can see here I am multiplying when k is 0 for this, and k is 0th row for my B matrix. So I will multiply these both elements, and I will just add it to my current. And after that k will be increased. So k will be increased, that means ith row and kth column for A. So ith row, that means 0th row, and kth column, that means this element. So I will then select this element, and k will be increased for row in B. So k will be increased, so I will again, after that I will select this element. So I think there was this one, I don't know. So after that I will select this element, and from A this element. So I will multiply them, and you can see I am multiplying them and adding them to my current. And after this loop, after multiplying all the values, so first, second, third, so after multiplying also third value and adding it to my current, so after this loop, what I have to do, I have to just store it in my index. So answer ith row and jth column, I have to store this current value. So either you can do it like this, or what you can do, you can just do it here. So you don't need this current, so that is the exact same thing, you are just storing all the values in the answer matrix itself. So you are just multiplying them and adding them to the index, and after that again multiplying them and adding them to the index. So I think now you got this thing. And let me just after that let me just print out the answer. So result matrix will be, so I will just quickly use here for each loop, because now I have to print the whole matrix. So I will just use here for each loop, and I will just print this element with space, and after printing one row, one line. Okay, so size of the matrix will be 3. So let us just consider this example. So 9 values for A: 1 1 2 0 0 2 1 1 0 1 1 1 2 0 0 2, and after that 1 1 0. So A matrix is this, and B is 2 1 0. I think that was 1 2 1 0 1 22, and let me just think, that is also 1 2 1 0 1 2 2, and after that 1 1 0 1 1 and 0. So 5 5 2. So I think there was some mistake. So 5 5 2, and after that this element is 0. So here it is 0, and the last element is 2. So here it is also 2, and this element is also 5 here. So I think this program is now clear, and let us just take an example where number of rows are not equal to number of columns. So suppose there are this. So I think, so just taking a small example. So here we have one row and two columns. You can see here 0 row and 0 1, two column. Okay. And after that here, suppose if we want to multiply them, so the number of column here should be 2. So number of column here should be 2. Number of row should be 2, because here number of column are 2. So it will be 2 cross, suppose 2 cross 2 matrix. Okay. So it will be 2 cross 2 matrix. So suppose there are 0 1 1 0, and let us just check for the answer, and then we will just try with our code. So A multiply B, so it will be, first we will take this and multiplying it with this. So what is the value of answer matrix? So answer matrix will have a size 1 cross 2. So 1 cross 2, so 1 row and 2 columns, so it will be something like this A matrix, है ना? So it will also have size 1 cross 2. First we will take this element 2 into, we will multiplying it with this 2 into 0, and after that we will add 1 multiply 1. So 1 multiply 1, so it will be 1 multiply 1, it will be 1. Okay. After that the second element, so it is on 0 0, so we selected 0th row from A and 0th column from B, and after that we have index 0 1, so we will select 0th row from A and first column from B. Okay, so that thing is very clear now. And so 2 into 1, that will be 2, plus 1 into 0, so it will be 0. So 2 into 1, the resultant matrix will be 1 into 2. And let us just take some index, take some input for it. So we will just create a row, and we will just take n after that, and after that sc dot next int. After that we will take a column for our B matrix. So this A matrix will be of size row into n, and this row into n elements in this A, and after that this what is that calls, let us just rows, and after that this B matrix will be of size n into columns. So the number of rows in B should be equal to number of columns in A. So that condition is now clear, and let us just run it, and we will try this same example. So size is 1 cross 2, 1 and 2, and after that it have also column number of column 2. So we will just create a matrix of 1 cross 2, and it will be, it will have 2 1 and 4 values for B. So it have 0 1, so it is 0 0 and 0 1. We are placing it like this, so we have to take values, we have to input values like this, first 0 0 then 0 1. We can also take values like this, but we have to then store it like this. Okay, don't worry, don't fall in this thing. So 0 1 1 0, 0 1 1 0, and the result should be 1 2. So let us check it. Okay, what was that? Index 1 out of bound for length 1. So it is in 94 line. Okay, so what are we doing here? What is the problem? Okay, we are just following for n, है ना? And we don't have to do that. So for I, we have to compare for total number of rows in this. So total number of rows are rows, है ना? And total number of columns are should be equal to this. So J will be for total number of columns, that will be n, and it is here n. And after that, for this K, what is the final value for this K? So K is from 0 to n, 0 to n. So there should be two values, right? So K should be less than. So the problem is here. So problem is on K, on n, I think. Let us just try that again. Or we can just use here debugging. So the value was 122, 1 2, okay, we have to do that again. 1 2 and again 2, and two values for A are 2 and 1, and four values for B 0 1 1 0, 0 1 1 and 0. And now the answer is correct, but we are creating a empty matrix. Okay, we also have to create a matrix of size rows into columns, rows into columns. So I think the mistake was just this. We have to start our loop for ith loop for this number of row, and rest of the things were good. So we are creating a resultant matrix of rows into column, and that's our attempt number 3, 2 1, and 0 1 1 and 0. And now our result is good, 1 2. So finally we completed this whole program, and I think you understand the main logic, how we are selecting number of row and number of column, and how we are just using a normal loop to just multiply and add all the values. So this was a, I think, very quick program, but it is not that much complex. So if you are a beginner, just practice this thing, and you will be just comfortable with them. And now it is time for your practice problem. So today in your task 19, you have to do this. You will be given a binary matrix. Now a binary matrix means the values in it will be only 0 and 1. So it will be called as a binary matrix. And after that, you will be also given a k. So k will be an integer. And the third step is to find the maximum sum submatrix of size k. So suppose for an example, what is this? So suppose for an example, if you have a matrix of size 4 cross 4, so it will have 4 rows, 1 2 3 4, and 4 columns. So it is a binary matrix, so it will have values only zeros and ones. So suppose this is a 4 cross 4 matrix, and after that you will be also given some k. So suppose k equal to 2, and you have to find the maximum sum from a submatrix of size k. So first of all, some matrix of size k, that means a part of matrix which have 2 into 2 size. So if n equal to 4, so that means this matrix is of 4 cross 4 size. And if k equal to 2, that means that we have to select a part of matrix which is of 2 into 2 size. So if we select this part, this these two and these two, so it will create a 2 cross 2 submatrix of this original matrix. So this have 4 sum. So we have to select a part of our matrix, and we have to find the sum from it. So 1 2 3 4. So there are total of 4 elements, or we can say 4 ones. So sum will be equal to 1 2 3 4. So for a 2 cross 2 matrix, the maximum sum possible is 4, and we have to return the same. And suppose there are more zeros in it. So more zeros, and now we have to return the maximum sum possible, and that is 3, and it is here. So you can see, if we select this matrix, this is a sum matrix of our original matrix, and it is of size 2 cross 2. So 2 rows, here you can see, and two columns. So you have to select this matrix and you have to check. You have to check the sum from it. So it will be 1 and 2 and 3. So you have to return the 3. That is the maximum sum from our sum matrix of size k. And you have to just use here 3 loops. That is a hint. And share your code in the comment section, and the first one to comment the answer will get a huge shout out in the upcoming video. So यार अब ये हमारे क्वेश्चन अच्छे लेवल के आने लगे हैं, तो यार प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू कर दो. So that is it for today everyone. If this video is helpful, go hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel, and thank you for watching.